Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Pointless Witticisms, the thing where I talk about things where each given thing is a film that I have watched that I consider to be usually beneath the public consciousness or beneath some standard of quality that we ascribe to films. Generally things that one might call pointless, although to be fair, most of them do have a point and were entertaining to some degree or other. Today's thing is Wrath of the Titans, the sequel to the 2010 remake of Clash of the Titans, and it is a bit of a pointless sequel to an already not wholly needed remake of the classical Ray Harryhausen film that's used stop motion and such to give us such classic fights as Perseus versus Medusa and Perseus just pulling a head out of a bag to kill a kraken. The 2010 version, of course, turned it into a fairly larger affair with CGI and with Sam Worthington, the actor who starred in Avatar. Now, Clash of the Titans starred the Kraken, the coolest and biggest monster of them all that wasn't actually originally from Greek mythology, whereas Wrath of the Titans stars aging granddad and volcano man Kronos, the Greek titan whose name is constantly conflated and confused with Kronos, the Greek god of time. Kronos, easy enough mistake to make. Kronos never seems to get a good deal in adaptations, and for some reason, ever since the video game Age of Mythology, he keeps getting depicted as a really big volcano monster locked up in Tartarus. Don't ask me why the Titan of the Harvest or agriculture or what have you is a big volcano god, even if volcanic ash sort of makes for fertile land or whatever, so there is a tangible connection that one could make there. It's just a little silly, and the film makes him ridiculously big, and it takes all the power of Zeus to make him alive again, but it's just a wee bit impressive to see him smashing armies. You know, it could be more impressive, and he got beaten up by the Kraken, but he's a good deal bigger than a Kraken, so I have to wonder how the Kraken did it in the first place. Was the Kraken just more powerful, or...? But yeah, Wrath of the Titans is a bit of a pointless sequel with a few neat ideas, and Sam Worthington wearing a mop on his head as the lead role. He's sort of grown his hair out and it doesn't look too good compared to the shaven, militaristic look that he sports in the original film. The twilight of the Greek gods is a bit of a theme throughout this film, with their death without the worship they need being a bit of a neat idea that carries it through. And Ares is the god of war, and he's still strong because war is a thing, and he's vaguely aware if someone does pray to him, so throughout the film people are being warned not to pray to Ares, and that's a bit of a neat idea. And there are quite a few neat ideas in this film, but you can't really surpass Medusa and the Kraken. Fighting a Minotaur and a Titan isn't as cool as fighting Medusa and a Kraken. It'd be like substituting a fight against a tank for a fight against some man on a bicycle with a shotgun. I mean, it could be cool, but, you know, you had a tank there. And I'd argue that Hellraiser 2... Bear with me here, because this may sound like a complete tangent, but Hellraiser 2 is what I define a good sequel as. It's a good sequel because it ups the stakes, it explores the world of the film a bit deeper, and it goes all in on closing loops left at the end of the first one. Except, well, Wrath of the Titans actually does a lot of that good sequel stuff too. It ends the gods, it has Perseus as a father figure himself when his relationship with his father was strained in the first film, and it has the gods themselves settle their conflict and talk things out in certain ways and realise the important stuff behind their constant squabbling, and I suppose there's a very good sequel there buried underneath the mess of a giant volcano man and the quest for a giant spear of killing giant volcano men. The god of war in this film is a pretty typical for Greek myth Ares. He's a bit pissed, and the fight between him and Perseus has the whole family but not quite thing going on, where he is jealous of Perseus as the half-son of Zeus, who gets to be Zeus's proper son and gets all the love. But these ideas have to be buried beneath combining Poseidon's trident with Zeus's thunderbolt and Hades' pitchfork to form a super spear that can kill a giant volcano man. This film has acting a hair short of being hammy enough to work. The CGI fights are every other minute, but while they are imaginative, they don't quite match up to what we saw in Clash of the Titans as far as ridiculousness. So Wrath of the Titans manages to be a sequel that has, at the same time, brought in new ideas, but not managed to keep the stakes and such going from the previous film. And there's also this continued problem from Clash of the Titans, the 2010 one, where the gods are big and grand people in a CGI god room, instead of how scary and powerful the gods were in the original Clash of the Titans, where they were fairly, like, calm at times with a bit of hammy British actor acting, but humanity were literal toys in the gods' hands, clay figures that the gods could pick up, and Clash of the Titans goes full in with a bunch of gold glowing people that yell and talk about releasing the Kraken and stuff, with none of the sort of resignation and slowness and menace almost of the original Clash of the Titans. Like, there's a scene in the original Clash of the Titans where somebody's clay figure is picked up and twisted until the original one is moulded into this devil. And Clash of the Titans 2010 has this already sort of mangled and twisted evil guy get infected with some scorpion blood or whatever and gain magic powers. Like, I like Clash 2010, but Clash 2010 is having to play off the original. Wrath of the Titans is its own story, and whereas the first film gets the benefit of nostalgia, this one almost doesn't have that. And it tries to stand on its own, only for us to not care about it as much. Like, there are continuing cast members and cast member roles, or, well, I say cast member roles, the Queen is played by a different actress, I believe, and yeah, she's a badass action hero in this film, rather than the damsel of distress in the last one, and she joins in on the party to go down into the underworld and smash stuff. And there's also the son of Poseidon, who, you know, is going to draw the inevitable comparisons to Percy Jackson. But in Clash of the Titans 2010, we get dumb stuff like a pair of eccentric monster hunters who have, like, a minute scene of bragging about knowing how to kill all of the cool things in the film. And, like, what's this, like, do you know which head to cut off to kill a Hydra? And Perseus's immediate response is, the middle one. And they're like, good guess. And that sort of dumb stuff. And I feel like that's missing almost from this film, where we just sort of jump straight into, alright, let's have an action scene. I'm probably being very harsh on Wrath of the Titans, but that's possibly because I just don't feel it lived up to Clash of the Titans' promise, let alone its own promise, let alone the promise of a film. And yeah, it's a bit of a mess. I can't recommend it in good faith, even if I myself did enjoy it as something very dumb to watch on a Saturday morning. Thank you for listening, listeners, and if there's anything else of mine you're interested in, go have a peek at it, because I will continue to be talking about these ridiculous films for some time.